This is Always Ready Matt Cardona, and you're watching Pro Wrestling for Life.
Welcome to another edition of Pro Wrestling for Life, everyone. I'm trying so hard right now not to do this intro the exact same way I do this intro every fucking week. So, it's me, WWE Hall of Famer X-Pac. See, this time I didn't say two-time Hall of Famer, so it's a little bit different. Welcome to the show, everyone. My co-host, Nick Hausman. What's up, Nick?
I'm great, Sean. We have another banger episode here for everybody this week. After we do a little news talk at the top here, we're going to dive right into a pretty meaty conversation with Matt Cardona, who I guess has a death wish because he's feuding with Nick Gage right now. Then we're going to welcome to the show. We have two guests this week. So rather than doing a retrospective segment, we're going to welcome on Effy. We're going to be talking about the relationship between pro wrestling, the LGBTQ community as part of Pride Month. We're also going to play a game with Effy, and at the end of the show, we're going to debut a new segment, 1, 2, 3 questions, where we're going to welcome on a Patreon fan of ours, a Pro Wrestling for Life Patreon fan, to ask you a couple questions at the end of the show.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
You surprised me, Nick.
I did. I love today's episode. I think you guys are going to love it, too. I want to thank you all so much for supporting Pro Wrestling for Life. Personally, couple housekeeping things here real quick. We finally landed Pro Rest for Life over on Instagram, Sean. It is the same handle now as over on Twitter. So if you want to go follow us on Instagram, it is also Pro Rest for Life. We are looking, by the way, for somebody to be an Instagram manager. So if you are out there and you have a lot of experience with Instagram, you think you can help us grow that platform, shoot us DM. I'd love to hear from you. And if you are a Patreon member, on top of the watch-alongs and the early release, the ad-free and the archives and everything, we now have a Discord server, which is like forums, where you can come and talk to the other Patreon members in the Discord. It's a private Discord. And Sean, we haven't talked about it really much off air, but the intent is to get you in this Discord server so you can talk to people throughout the week.
All right, I'll have to drop in.
Yeah. So come on over. Pro Wrestling for Life over on Patreon. All right. Hey, let's get to the news you can use. News will leave a bruise. Dude, it was super cool at Takeover, man. The ode that the Way had to Diesel, Razor, you, Sean. I think the dog was Hunter. How cool was it for you to see Candice LeRae dressed up like the 1, 2, 3 kid at Takeover?
You know, Nick, when stuff like that happens, it always feels good. I mean, and people always ask, you know, hey, how'd you feel about that? It felt good. Felt good to see it. I'm honored. And I replied, like I actually, once I saw Candice LeRae's tweet, and she was, and like hers, she was me, right?
I believe she was, yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. She was. Yeah. And, like, I think of everyone in the group, I relate to her more as like when I was 1, 2, 3 kid.
Why is that? Because
that's just her. Like, she's the, like, babyface Candice LeRae, like dude, it doesn't get more fucking babyface than that. Like, underdog, so I mean, when she first came in and she was fighting her way, just to get on TV, and some people didn't think she had what it took, I think.
Really?
To be there. I don't know.
You talk about people internally in WWE or just kind of
maybe, honestly. I might be wrong about that.
Wow.
But I think she's fucking great.
I agree, man. I agree. Yeah.
Just white meat baby face. Like, it's hard to pull that off, man. And she did a great job. And when they turned, like, man, they were just as good as heels as they were as baby faces.
Yeah, man. They're really fun to watch. All the stuff at their house where they're just having dinner, Mm-hmm. And I love the Indy Hartwell, Dexter Lumis stuff, man. I don't know what it is, but it just is like it feels good for both of them. It's giving them something fun and tangible to do on NXT TV,
Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ. Now I'm like, oh, maybe some people didn't think she has what it takes. Now, like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, I didn't mean to start some bullshit and some fucking dipshit's gonna make a clickbait fucking thing about, oh, X-Pac says Candice LeRae didn't have what it takes. Shut the fuck up.
All right, hey Raj, let's not run that one.
Yeah, please don't.
It's Wrestling Inc. That's fine, got it. Also on Takeover, you have a lot of history with Ted DiBiase, right? The $1 million title now back in NXT. LA Knight beat Cameron Grimes to become the new $1 million champion. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I guess I understand why they had the ladder match because get the belt or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I kind of like. A lot of people were like hot that LA Knight won that. I noticed, right?
I was not thrilled.
That's why. Like, why don't we just see where it fucking goes first? Like, where the end point is instead of getting all hot. Ugh, Cameron Grimes should have gotten it.
I
probably will end up with it.
You think so? I think so. I feel good for LA Knight because he really hasn't had a big moment in NXT yet. I thought this was a big moment for him. But Cameron Grimes, like, I would think when they started this character, like, dude, you're the new $1 million man. At some point, we're gonna get this title on you. That's what I thought was gonna happen. So
sure.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Lastly, here on Takeover, just your thoughts on the main event. We got a loaded show here, so we're just gonna do one more thing. Karrion Kross, man, laid waste to all 4 of the other men that are even within like 10 yards of that title. A lot of speculation on what could be next for him. What did you think of the main event and the decision to have Kross just kind of lay waste to all the other top competition in NXT?
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Like nobody in that match is like, it didn't really hurt anybody, Nick. It just built him up.
Yeah.
They had a hell of a match, I thought. And that's where they're going with this guy. They want to build this guy up like fucking like a beast like that. That's how you do it. You know?
Right. Yeah, that's cool. We can edit it right there. That's great. Beast like that. That's how you do it. Boom.
That's it.
That's
We're
it.
going to talk about Braun Strowman.
Do you want to talk about Braun Strowman?
Well, yeah. Like, I mean, you mentioned it.
Well, I said in the run sheet. I mean, we talked about his release last week, but I mean, he wants $20K on the indies. Do you want to comment on the fact that Braun Strowman is asking for a huge number when it comes to the independents?
Yeah. I mean, he set his price and people can pay it or not pay it. Like, there's no reason to get fucking hot about it,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see what the problem is. And if there's no buyers at $20K, he'll either sit at home or he'll lower his price. It's that simple. No need to go, what the fuck's the matter with him? He's trying to figure out where he is. He's trying to figure out his market value.
Yeah, totally. Go big, man. If you can get it, right?
Yeah, and you want to start higher and then go lower as opposed to start lower and then go higher.
Yeah.
It's really funny how that works.
It's true. Where's Scott?
Boy, I'm sarcastic as fuck today.
You're in a mood, man. I love it.
This episode of Pro Wrestling for Life is brought to you by Magic Spoon. Growing up, cereal was one of the best parts of being a kid, Nick, but I had to give it up because I realized it was full of sugar and junk that you really shouldn't eat.
Oh, yeah, man. I know I've been trying to cut down on my carbs, my sugar, all the unhealthy food. And by the time that I had done all of that, I had realized that there was really nothing that I could eat anymore.
Right? So, I mean, hardly anything left to eat, I've been drinking protein shakes for years, Nick, just to try to get supplemental protein to help build muscle. But now found another delicious way to get my protein before and after workouts.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a healthy breakfast. It's not boring, right? You hear healthy, you think maybe it's going to boring or be bland, but it is amazing. It's flavorful. The flavors, they love you. You love them. And without all the bad stuff in it, it is really just an awesome cereal, That's
right. Yeah, there's 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein per serving, and only 4 net grams of carbs, Nick, in each serving. Only 140 calories.
Yeah, and keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, GMO-free, and the best part is you don't just get one when you order the variety pack. You get 4 different kinds of Magic Spoons. So you could try the cocoa, you can try that fruity flavored. I know you love the fruity flavored one. That's
my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm dying to get the birthday cake flavor that I don't see listed yet, but I know they got it.
Dude, they're sending it to us. I put in the request. I told you last week we're gonna get the breakfast or the birthday cake. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah. So if you want to grab this variety pack, go to magicspoon.com/pro. Try it today. Be sure to use that promo code PRO PRO at checkout. You're gonna save $5 off your order.
And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, Nick. It's backed with 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked.
Yeah, that's right. Remember, you get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/PRO. Use the code PRO to save $5 off. And we want to thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode.
That's magicspoon.com/PRO. Thank you, Magic Spoon. I just had to get the last word in. This episode of Pro Wrestling for Life is sponsored by Blue Chew.
Yes, it's summer. It's camping season. Let's talk about pitching tents.
Oh boy, Jesus Christ.
That's how we start here. That's the new read. That's right. This episode is brought to you by Blue Chew. Guys, confidence can take you far in life. It can also help in the bedroom, especially when it comes time to step up to the plate. And that right there, that's where Blue Chew comes in, Sean.
Yeah, Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost, Nick.
Yeah, and you can take them anywhere, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever the opportunity arises, like your dick.
The process is simple. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days.
Yeah. And the best part, it's all done online. You don't have to visit the doctor, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy.
And Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA, Nick, and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package.
Yeah. And, speaking of packages, with Blue Chew, men everywhere are excited to see the postman because when your package has arrived, your, quote, package has arrived. Whoever wrote this is good stuff.
And they always say first impressions are important. I mean, it's easy for me to say. They always say first impressions are important, Nick. What about lasting impressions?
Oh, yeah. It's time to get off the couch, back to work. If your tool needs an upgrade, head to Blue Chew. Man, these are great. Yeah.
Women say there's nothing sexier than confidence, and Blue Chew can help give you confidence where it counts.
Yeah. So if you could benefit from some extra confidence for when it's time to perform, Blue Chew can help. And why don't you tell them how we can help them with Blue Chew, Sean?
Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code PRO at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com, promo code PRO to receive your first month free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank you, Blue Chew, for sponsoring Pro Wrestling for Life. It was good seeing you at WrestleCon.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for signing that figure. I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Stop. Yeah. Dude, my mom sent me, like, she just wanted to, she's getting old and she's downsizing, and like she had like all that fucking action figure. Dude, I got 8 fucking big bins full of fucking stuff here.
Wow.
I found a Lucy in there.
Yeah.
On my Hasbro.
Yeah,
even out of the package, that's fucking expensive.
It's very expensive. It's
so
like
Matt, when you hear that Sean Waltman had, like, his mom has bins of his stuff, like, how excited does that make you? Like, random Sean Waltman memorabilia
I would love to go with the Major Pod crew and just open it up, see what's in there,
If you're in town, dude, swing by and look through this shit. Seriously.
It sounds like a Storage Wars episode that would be great. But we should keep all of this. Sean, you should just roll into the interview. Like, let's just welcome Matt and do the thing here.
So let's just get into. Hey, everybody! Joining us right now on the show is Matt Cardona. What's up, Matt?
What's up, Sean? How's it going?
Good. Usually I do this big, long, silly intro or whatever, but everybody knows Matt Cardona. Jesus
I hope
Christ.
so. It's been a while. Been around for a little bit.
Looking good, bro.
I just got back from the gym. Did some arms. I got a good pump right now.
Yeah. I saw some pictures of on Instagram at poolside.
Oh yeah, we had this Pabst Blue Ribbon. They sponsor the Major Wrestling podcast. We're filming a commercial, so it got wild a couple of days ago. It was myself, Brian Myers, Mark Sterling, and Hornswoggle. Just drinking as many PBRs as we could and being filmed and documented. So I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of crazy footage.
Hey, how did you not to get all up in the sponsorship questions, but why not? How'd you get hooked up with PBR?
So it turns out that one of the guys who works with PBR, Corey, is a big fan of our podcast, and he's like, "Hey, would you be interested in working with PBR?" Like, hell yeah, of course, Yeah. So it's a big opportunity for us, to see how far we can take this. We're using the hashtag Major PBR and trying to get all our fans involved and take wild pictures, whether it be with wrestling figures or themselves, and we're just seeing what happens.
Isn't it crazy? Okay, you just told the story. They came to you.
Yes.
Do you remember not that many years ago when, man, you couldn't get somebody to we had to chase them down and they were still saying no thanks.
Absolutely. So I'm very fortunate. And when an opportunity presents itself, especially like this, I'm going to jump all over it.
Yeah.
Matt,
go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to ask, because I saw the commercials. You were Major PBR, I think, is what the media thing. Is this going to be a national commercial or is social?
Yeah, I say commercial. It's probably going to be on YouTube and social and stuff like that. I don't think it's going to be playing during Monday Night Raw. You know what I'm saying? But hey, we'll take it. And I think something I'm very good at, or at least I try to be good at, is whatever I have or whatever I get, I try to make it as big as possible.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do, because if you're not going to make it a big deal, who else is gonna?
Exactly.
Maybe
Hey, Matt. So I got to go back to the first time you got on, the first time you showed up on my map. Hey, okay, what's going on with this guy? Dude, you're working for WWE. And they're not doing shit with you, and you just decide, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and the visual that I can't get out of my head at the moment is you climbing over a fence and going, I'm getting over, just shit like that. And it was so brilliant, man.
Yeah, so that was a YouTube show I started a decade ago called Z True Long Island Story. True Long Island Story. And it's funny because now I have a podcast called MC True Long Island Story, where we're going back a decade later and going episode by episode and what was going on in my head and what was going on backstage. But at that time, I've said this before, I was trying to create buzz and either get noticed or get fired. I didn't want to get fired, but I knew if I got fired for what I was doing, I would have buzz to go elsewhere. Because I was just sick of sitting in the back, and not everyone can be the chosen one, right? No, not everyone can be undefeated and win all the belts. I get it, right? But I was going to create my own opportunity because no one was going to do it, and that's fine. I'm not complaining about it, but I was going to make a name for myself.
And it reminds me, later on, Becky Lynch kind of did something similar, right? Maybe not quite exactly, comparable, but. Just said, hey, what about me? Shit.
Right. And I think, we all dream of being the top guy in this business. And yes, that's not going to happen for everybody, but why not try? Right. Exactly. I hate the whole, you only live once, motto, but it's true. Right. I never want to live with regret. I never want to look back. I wish I would have tried this or tried that. No, I'm going balls to the wall. And hey, listen, I might fail. I might not succeed, but I'm going to try.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to.
Yeah. Nick, you want to hop in?
I think one of the things that is great about you, Matt, and what you're doing right now is obviously the Nick Gage stuff. I want to jump to that. Sean came to me and was like, dude, this is crazy. What is happening? We all just saw the Nick Gage Dark Side of the Ring, special on TV and everything. We got to know his story, and we've all come up on your story obviously as well, for the past decade or so. Why now? Why Nick Gage? Why do you want to go after this guy? What's happening right now and kind of in your world?
So it all kind of happened so suddenly. Like, I don't know if he tweeted me or a fan asked me to wrestle him and I wrote like some smart ass comment back, but all of a sudden he just started like going off and like, and I couldn't tell like if he was joking or if he was serious, but he seemed pretty serious. And then the promotion GCW, they were promoting that I was going to be there at the show, and I'm clearly not there. I have a booking somewhere else. So he like gets on the mic and he's like, "Zack Ryder's a pussy," and they get everyone chanting like I'm a pussy.
You were at Warrior Wrestling, man. I
was in Chicago.
Yeah, dude, that's the fucking children's championship for Warrior Wrestling. I knew where you were at. I was there. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. So you know what? Like, listen, deathmatch wrestling. It's not my cup of tea. It's not my style.
Right.
I respect it. And I had to shut this guy up. That's plain and simple. You know, I had to, like I said, I'm always trying to create buzz and I'm never happy in my spot. And that's not saying I'm not grateful for what I have, but I always want more. And I think there's nothing wrong with wanting more and setting goals. And, you know, right now it's this great time for me. I hate using this term too, free agent, but I have no boss. I'm my own boss. You know, I've been doing Impact Wrestling, which I love. You know, but that's not every week, you know, so I got to pay the bills. I got to get my name out there. Impact has been so much fun. It's like, it's so refreshing to be there. And like, I'm actually involved and I actually have like matches that mean something. And then like, cause I'm like, listen, I'm a big fan at heart. I'm a big kid at heart. Right. So if I know I have this pay-per-view match, I can like get some really cool gear made, you know, like as opposed to, I'd get this gear made in WWE and like 9 times out of 10, it's in a forgettable match where I have no entrance and I'm losing in 3 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool that I'm doing stuff that matters in Impact. It's so much fun. And now I can go wrestle at Warrior Wrestling one day and then the next day show up at GCW and lay out Nick Gage. It's awesome.
Well, and Sean, I know you want to jump in, but like Matt, I want to just say that, you know, you're the internet champion, right? You got that title over your shoulder.
That's right.
And, you know, you managed to be, I think, the first superstar of, you know, millennial area, whatever you want to call it, to really harness the power of YouTube and get it behind you. And people have, you know, the entire time you were signed, man, we're like, what would it be like if this guy could be the internet champion, but, you know, with the chains cut off, right?
Right.
What does internet champion Matt Cardona look like? And I think that's what we're finally starting to get to see here. And what I think is wild is that you've gone after Nick Gage, who might actually kill you.
He might. And listen, I'm not saying that I'm not afraid of Nick Gage or afraid of GCW and Deathmatch Wrestling because I am terrified 100%.
Sure. Hey, Matt, do you have any experience at all with death matches or any kind of hardcore stuff in matches in your past?
I mean, listen, I've been in like street fights and stuff like that. I did backyard wrestling, but like I've never been in a real like death match. No, I've never gotten glass, you know, a whole thing of glass, like, you know, right smack in the face. I've never gotten a light tube across my back. No, I haven't.
No, like how about blood? Just blood. How many matches have you had where
very, very little, and it was all like hard way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I'm not afraid in the sense that like I'm not afraid to lose. I'm not afraid to get hurt because I want to take chances. And this is a perfect opportunity. And listen, I knew this was going to create some buzz. It created a lot more buzz than I thought it would, which is great. Because you always got to reinvent yourself and keep your name out there, especially if you're not someone who everyone's going to get behind 24/7. You got to remind people why they should be behind you. And listen, I'm not saying I'm the hardest worker in professional wrestling, but find someone who works harder than me.
Here's the thing.
That's a fair statement.
Matt, here's the thing. I just want to say that what you're saying right now sounds a hell of a lot to me like what David Arquette said leading into his Nick Gage match, which was like, hey, I'm here to prove myself. I've never done this. And like legit, dude, he almost died, right? Like, but it's like throat got cut. You know, there's certain ways that light tubes need to be thrown. One of the things I wanted to ask you about is, since I knew that this was probably not your foray, when you did the double arm DDT onto Gage, you were wearing the black robe, but there was glass.
Okay, so it looks like a little cut now. But when I DDT'd him, the adrenaline was pumping, the crowd was hating me, and I was loving it. And listen, I'm not like gonna turn heel, but if these people don't like me, fuck you. You know, I still love my fans. I'm not turning my back on my fans. My fans have made me, and that's the reason I'm even getting interviewed right now. I love my fans. But those people, if they don't want to like me, then don't like me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not changing me. You know, I'm not changing myself. But yeah, like you said, I was doing an offensive move, hit a double on DDT, and then like I'm getting to the back and there's just blood like dripping all. I'm like, what is this? Where's this coming from? And like it looks small now, but it was like wide open, just blood pouring out. And I was like, holy shit. And guess what? Newsflash, there's no like medical team and doctors backstage GCW. Right. You know what I'm saying? Someone had a bottle of peroxide, they poured it on me, and I used wrist tape and taped it really tight.
Yeah, man. That's why I asked. That's why I bring it up, because you come from a different world, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, you talk about all these other talents that are out there right now that everybody's talking about, like, oh, these free agents, like, does Braun Strowman want to go, you know, cut himself on glass? It takes a kind of certain kind of person right now to want to go out there and prove themselves like you're doing.
Yeah,
right?
Listen, I don't want to get cut on glass. I don't want to, but you know what? It comes to the territory, right?
So Matt, how do you see this? Do you have an idea in your head of how a match with Nick Gage is even going to go?
Bro, like, listen, I've seen the dark side of the ring, and like, honestly, like, I had to look away at some of the scenes. So I'm like, what the fuck is going to happen in this match? But I know we have a match booked, GCW Homecoming, and I'm hoping that a lot of my fans come too. So it's like a half and half. I would love that atmosphere, that electricity of like people hating me, people loving me, and same with Nick. And I think we're really going to give the people something to see. And it is kind of like a happy accident, right? Like it's not like I'm gonna go after this Nick Gage guy. No, like someone tweeted, and then we kept going back and forth, and it's escalated.
It was just so organic the way it fucking all played out, man.
Right, and then like
it was a really cool thing to see. I know, I told you, I texted you. Like,
yeah,
like I'm like, man, is this fucking like I was wondering,
right,
what was really going on here,
right. You know? and the best part about it is I really don't even know what's going on here. And I know a lot of people were expecting Moxley because he's been coming in. So, you know, I was like, okay, well, what if I do that little like Moxley thing and like, will they buy it? And they did. They totally bought it. Those marks, you know what I'm saying? They think they know everything. And then it was such a cool, like, oh man, I've been watching the video over and over from different angles because like I take the mask off and there's some people who are popping because they see me from behind. They think it's Moxley, but then the people in front of me are booing, and then I turn around, then they start booing. Then they're all saying like, fuck Zack Ryder. I'm like, this is great. This is great. This is wrestling to me, you know? This is wrestling.
Dude, it has a kind of Jerry Lawler ECW vibe.
Yes, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard to get real heat, right? Like, I mean, that seems like it's real heat, right? Like, real to you?
I'm not even kidding. Like, full disclosure, I've never watched a GCW show. I've never been to a GCW show. So me walking down that aisle was the first time I've ever been or seen their arena. So then like I lay them out and I'm like, holy shit, like these fans are against the ring, like flipping me off. They're pissed. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to get out of here? Right. Like, are they going to like, I was like, oh, well, here we go. Like if someone swings, I'm gonna have to swing back, you know?
Dude. So Zack Ryder, GCW champion. What does that look like?
Listen, I have no intentions of going in there not to win the title. You know, I would love to be the face of GCW. Finally, a face with some teeth. You know what I'm saying? And I call them the GCW universe, and they hate that. I call it a championship, not a belt, and they hate that. Listen, I could be a little smart ass. You know, if you don't like me, that's cool, but I'm not going to like you back. And the best part about it is that my fans are supporting me. So like the Major Wrestling Podcast, we put on these live shows, and we just did one Friday night in Baltimore, Jimmy's Famous Seafood, and Nick Gage tried running in.
Oh yeah.
He tried running in. So then I'm the babyface. Everyone's chanting for me. So it's a cool dynamic and a cool atmosphere. It's like, whose turf are you going to be on? And when I'm on his turf at Homecoming, I'm hoping my fans come. I hope they're not afraid to come.
Is that Atlantic City?
Atlantic City, yeah. So it's just going to be a fun atmosphere and something I'm not used to. And I've been in this business for almost 20 years, so it's cool that I'm trying new things. 18 years later. Hey,
has it ever occurred to you that if your fans come to support you, there could be issues between the different sects of fans in the stands?
Yes,
it happened in WCW one time with NWO versus WCW fair.
Yeah, and like, trust me, I don't want that to happen. I
neither.
want everybody to have fun and have a good time. But I'm thinking, hey, how great would it be if my favorite wrestler of all time, Macho Man Randy Savage, he won a world title in Atlantic City, and all those years later, I win the GCW title in Atlantic City. I mean, you can't write that.
I wanted to get your take on a couple of GCW wrestlers right now, since you brought yourself into that universe, if you don't mind. What do you think of like Orange Cassidy and what he has grown out of to GCW and into AEW?
I mean, Orange Cassidy is somebody who, like, of course, when you first see him and he's doing those little kicks, you're like, what is this? But then I think you need to, like, what wrestling is. Wrestling can be anything, right? There's so many flavors of ice cream, so many flavors of wrestling. There's no like right way and wrong way. And that's just my opinion. And if the people get behind you, if the people are invested in you, then you're doing something right. So Orange Cassidy's definitely made it. And then watch his matches. This guy can go.
Like the three-way with him and
incredible. Oh, hell yeah, so good. And I was watching that at home, and like, you know, the false finishes, if you will, like I was really biting. I was like, holy shit, they're gonna give the title to Orange Cassidy. You know, that's when wrestling's at its best, I think. And those three guys, Kenny, Pac, and Orange Cassidy, they tore the house down.
Hey, Matt.
I'm sorry.
Matt. So, hey man, since your release, you didn't even skip a beat, man. Like it was almost like you had shit lined up, just like you knew it was coming or something. Like, I mean, because really, man, you just hit the ground running, Matt, and it's a cool thing to see, man.
Yeah. Now listen, like I said this before too. Like my contract was going to be up in August, and I hadn't resigned, but I didn't know if I was going to resign. I didn't say no. I'm not resigning this contract. Of course, I'm negotiating for more money. I'm trying to. I wanted to stay, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to just be there to be there because I'd been there to be there for so long. So when the call came and all those releases were coming, I'm like, well. My thing was like, oh my God, they better not release me and just have me rot till August. So at this point, I'm like, oh, please release me. Please release me. And when they did, this is going to sound so corny, but it's true. I have this painting from Rob Schamberger. It's me hugging my dad at WrestleMania when he hopped in the ring. Yeah. So I got a text from Mark Carano, who was in charge of TR at the time, saying, please call me. I'm like, okay, what does he call me about? You know, or what does he want me to call him about? So I just stood in front of that picture and smiled and got released over the phone. I'm like, you know what? Everything's going to be okay. And before that even happened, I set up my Pro Wrestling Tees store, but I didn't make it live yet. And as soon as I got released, I'm like, live, let's go. Let's do it, you know?
Right on.
Because what are you going to do? You're going to feel bad about yourself? Feel sorry for yourself? No. And like, not saying the handcuffs were on before, but they're certainly off now. And I can do anything. And I might not succeed, but at least I have the opportunity to try, and all I've ever wanted was opportunity.
Hey, so Matt, like when you were before your release, and while you're, you know, sitting at home or whatever the hell is going on, like were you looking like looking at what was going on outside WWE and like, oh shit, like imagining yourself in those different situations? And
because like AEW is incredible, right? But for so long, how many times did you hear, oh, somebody is starting this new promotion up, and it never took off? But when this like took off, when I saw the first one, the All In, I was like, they got something here. You know, like the people are they're hungry for an alternative. They're hungry for something different. And of course, AEW is thriving because the fans want something different. And it's so fun to see as a fan. So I was anxious, like, okay, now I'm going to use a wrestling figure analogy. I felt like Christmas morning. I saw all these presents. There was all these new opponents for me to wrestle, guys I'd never touched. And like now I could just be like, you know, I could just try anything. You know, I'm a very creative person. So then the wheels were spinning, and luckily, Brian Myers and we started the Major Wrestling Figure podcast a year or so earlier. So we had that to fall back on because, you know, we actually approached WWE about I don't know what it was going to be called, maybe the Zach and Kurt Wrestling Figure Podcast. And they were like, no, we have no interest in podcasts. We have no interest in collectibles. It's funny because now they tried to have a podcast network. It failed. Yeah. And then they have the A&E show about collectibles, which is fine. But thank God that we never did the podcast with them because it would have been taken away instantly. Yeah. So since it was ours, we got to continue it. And we're just so fortunate our fans were behind us because like the pandemic was wild, right? It was such a wild time, not just for wrestling, but for the world. And I didn't really feel comfortable going to like bumblefuck state and wrestling with COVID around. So I had the podcast to pay the bills.
Hey, Matt, did the price of all these items, like all this old memorabilia, like the old action figures, did it go up a lot during the pandemic? Bro, it seemed like it did, right?
Bro, so when this happened, Brian and I were like, oh no, our business is done. You know, no one is going to spend their hard-earned money. Everyone's out of jobs. No one's going to buy collectibles anymore. Our podcast is over. It blew up. Yeah, the podcast blew up. The collectible industry blew up. And will it take a little, like, people think that bubble's going to burst. I don't think it's going to burst. It might go down a little bit, but it's on the up and up. Bro, it was incredible. Like your Hasbro figure, through the roof. Through the roof.
Like I've seen some like $1,400 or something like that.
Crazy.
Like I was telling you, like my mom sent me these crates full of shit. There was like a loose one in there. I think it goes for like, $500, $600, $700, $800.
It's unbelievable. It's because people, whether they were at home or bored or just wanted to tap into that nostalgia, they wanted some good memories, or like they couldn't go to restaurants, or they couldn't go to a movie, or so they were spending their money on that stuff.
The micro brawler I sent you that they discontinued before. Do you know I saw what somebody like
their price?
I sold like $1,200. I saw somebody trying to sell one of those for.
I want to see it. I want to see it. Sean's only ever talked about it. Wow.
Yeah. So I got it back here.
How many of these were there made, Sean? How many of these were there?
Not like maybe 100 or something like that.
Matt, do you know how many there?
I don't know. It's something like
a couple hundred.
Not that many. And I don't think they were even officially for sale ever, right?
No, they weren't.
Right.
Yeah. So I have a few more. I have a few more in there.
Yeah. I bet you get some big bucks for those.
I actually, I'm not going to lie. Like a few people came to me that private, people came to me through Jimbo, the guy. And like they offered me $500. And so I sold them one for $500.
Yeah, why not? Sure.
Why not? I just assume hold on to them. Like,
I think so.
So Matt has one, but Brian doesn't. So I feel like I kind of feel like, and I don't have very many on.
I feel like he might. I feel like he might have bought one from somebody.
Really?
I think he did. Yeah, because we're both. I think. Hey, I'll ask him. If not, maybe he could slide into your DMs. But I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because we're both into the micro brawlers big time. So I'm pretty sure he tracked one down.
It was so funny, man. Because when I read the story about how you were waiting as a kid to get my Hasbro, and then what was it you got? Jimmy Hart.
Bless his heart. I'll never forget Christmas 1995. All I wanted was the Hasbro 1-2-3 Kid. Like I saw him with my own eyes at this comic book store. But you were short packed, so you were more money. So like it was Smoking Guns. I got them. It was Crush, Yokozuna, Atom Bomb, and Ludwig Borger. So I had them. All I was missing was 1-2-3 Kid, and I thought for sure this is what Santa Claus, whatever, was getting me for Christmas. So, I'm opening the gifts, and like I feel something that looks like the 1-2-3 Kid. It's the right shape, the right weight.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna save the best for last, right? So I'm opening whatever. And listen, it was a great Christmas. My parents really took care of me. But here we go. The moment of truth. 1-2-3 Kid. It's a fucking WCW Jimmy Hart. I'm like, come on, Jimmy Hart. Like, I need this figure, but I need the 1-2-3 Kid. And I didn't get it for years later. Like I saved up all my money. It was like, back in the day with like Coinstar, you'd like bring all your coins and then you get or like traded in like soda cans and my dad's beer cans. And I finally had enough money to buy one on eBay in like 1998. It's the first thing I ever bought. It was $45, which to me was like $1 million. I was in like 7th or 8th grade. And I kept that exact figure in the box for all these years, and then I got Sean to sign it at WrestleCon this year. So I'm very it has a prime spot in my collection.
Dude, that was cool, man. I'm glad that you brought that, and I'm glad I could do that, dude. It means a lot to me that means that much to you.
Yeah, it means the world for sure. And to have it, I'm not a big autograph guy, but that was something I needed autographed. Like how can I make this special and more unique? I'm like, well, I might as well get him to sign it.
Hey, do you have any of those because the most expensive wrestling figures I've ever seen are like those couple of Japanese ones. Like there was like an old Hulk one and
Yes, I have those. Those are
Wow,
like
you have that too?
Yeah, like I have way too many wrestling figures. I'll say that. I'm not saying I have like the best collection in the world by any means. I joke around and I say I'm the Michael Jordan of wrestling figure. But I listen. Everyone who has a collection, doesn't matter if it's 5 things, 500, 5,000. If it means like what my collection means to me, if it means that way to you, then they're all great collections.
Can I ask, are you into NFTs yet, Matt, or no?
I don't know enough about it. I've been doing research, but I do not have any yet.
Okay, no NFTs yet.
No NFTs yet. I know about them. I'm trying to educate myself on them. I see the appeal, but I'm waiting a little bit.
They had that Undertaker one that went for like 10 grand or whatever.
Yeah, unbelievable. I don't know enough about it to even have an educated conversation about it.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know anything either. That's why I figured you might. You're a collector, so
I'm trying to learn.
Hey Matt, can we talk about your live shows like you did? Was that the first one you did at Jimmy Seaboot?
No, it's actually the 8th one we've done.
Holy shit!
Yeah, so every couple months we find a city, and listen, when I say we sell out, 150 people, but it's jam packed, and then the atmosphere is it's electric, and we treat it like almost like a wrestling show. Like, yeah, we're talking, and it's like 2 guys talking, but it's not like our normal podcast. Like, it's wild, and we have skits, and we have like surprise entrances and surprise like guests. So this time we had Maven as a surprise. Like, Maven's music was hits. Boom. We had Shark Boy came out, like, big surprise. We had Max Caster from AEW, and he's rapping on everybody. Then we had Double J, Jeff Jarrett at the end, like all surprises. So like we advertise.
You coming out here?
We want to soon. Yeah, we want to. We don't have anything booked, but we want to. LA would be a great spot to do it. We haven't been West Coast yet, so we're looking at LA for sure.
Maybe do a Vegas, LA, like.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
Else when I got here.
It's a lot of work. It's like booking a wrestling show, because I like to go all in on every show, and then like I'll plan for the next one. So we have one coming up in August. You've been to Kowloon before in Massachusetts,
of course.
Yeah. So we're doing it there, our 9th one. So now I got to like start from scratch. I'm like, well, who are we going to bring in for this? And like we can't bring in all these people because we got to make some money, because it's a toy business, not the toy friendship.
Like this place called August Moon used to be our go-to place in Boston, and then it switched to Kowloon many years ago, man.
Yeah.
They've been great. They're kind of like them, Jimmy Seaboot, like just big supporters of our industry, man.
I love it. I love going to Jimmy's. I love going to Kowloon. So it was cool to do the shows there because we get to let the fans in on what we love about these places, Yeah. So and they appreciate the history too.
And they like myself. You're a big wrestling fan still, right?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, so like I can only speak for myself, but man, I really get a lot out of that live interaction. Like being there.
Best.
Yeah, man, it feels so good, man. And then when you see like the way you make somebody feel just by just shaking their hand or signing some shit for them, man, it's the best fucking thing in the world.
It's the best. So it's been weird, with the pandemic. So like I've been doing, wrestling with no crowd, which is odd. Because that's the art. The art's feeding off the people. So when you're like taking these bumps and you're just like selling, you're like, oh, I need a little extra for the people. But it's so hard. And then you watch it on TV and they're piping in the crowd, so it's not as awkward. But when you're in there, oh man, it's rough. So I'm glad the people are coming back.
Wow.
Yeah. And can I bring up real fast? I was in Toronto SummerSlam 2019. It wasn't your show. It was Dolph's show, I think.
Yes.
But you and Brian invaded, and Pat Patterson came up on stage and sang and closed it, and there were some unzipped zippers on stage. It was a very comedic, fun, light time, and it was just an amazing night. And when I think of live shows with you, that's always something I think about still.
We sang My Way with Pat Patterson, which it doesn't get better than that. But like that's the best part of these shows, whether it be Ziggler's comedy show or our live shows. Like we want to leave the people like I don't want them wanting more. I want to give them everything. I want to give them too much. You know what I'm saying? Right. And hopefully they'll come back to the next one. But that's like the atmosphere we want. Like we want to just give them everything. I don't save anything for the next show. I want to blow my load, if you will, on this show. You know what I'm saying? 100%.
Sure. Hey Matt, so like looking forward and like taking a look at the landscape of the industry right now, like Can you let us in on like what you're thinking you want to do? Like,
yeah, 100%. So yeah,
people you want to work with.
Yeah. So like right now, like Impact, they have given me this opportunity and I love it. I love the relationship I have with Impact. I don't have a long-term deal yet. It's just, a handshake deal, but Slammiversary is coming up in July. I would love to be a part of that. And there's going to be people there. So pay-per-view people, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait for that. GCW, of course, I want to kick Nick Gage's ass. And now like these independents are opening back up. Like I said, during the pandemic, I didn't do any. I'm like, I'm not going out there wrestling somebody in front of 10 people, maybe getting COVID. I'm not doing it. I'm just not. But now I can do it. So I did like Warrior Wrestling. Last week it was awesome. I'm starting to take some dates. So it's cool that, I can wrestle when I want to wrestle. I'm very fortunate that the podcast is taking off. So like I do podcast stuff every single day, whether it be, literally we pack up our own merchandise. We're doing all that stuff. You got to do it yourself, right? If you want something to get done correctly, you got to do it yourself. But this is, for me, this is like the best time I've had in my career. The most fun I've had in my career. And I don't want to look so far ahead. I just kind of want to live in the moment and see what happens,
That's a good policy to have, man.
You had a great match with Adonis at Warrior Wrestling. Like, I really enjoyed you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, it definitely was a match that stood out on the card because it was a match that like slowed down a bit and told more of a story, with you and Sam.
Yeah, and he's super talented, dude. And what's, it's a good and bad thing about the indies for me is that most of these guys, it's going to be my first time working them. And Sean, you got to wrestle a guy a couple times to get that chemistry down to click, Yep. So like I told Sam after the match, like, I want to wrestle you again. Like, I want to, if we had a great match first time, I want to just keep doing it. Cause old school loop, you wrestle that first night, that Friday show. All right. Saturday show's better. Sunday show's even better, and then you get to TV. Like, that's how you get better, is by working these guys over. That's how you build that chemistry.
Well, that's why I brought this up, because Sam's going to be down in AAA twice a month now, right?
Yeah.
And it's like on the posters and things. Do you have any interest in going down to Mexico? I mean, that's something.
Oh, baby. Bring me, baby. Book me, baby.
Yeah.
That's Heath Slater's email address. I think it's like bookmebaby@gmail.com or something.
Oh,
yeah. But yeah, I'd be so interested in going to Mexico, going to Japan, going wherever. I just want to work. I just want to wrestle and just have fun and make some money. Why not? Living the dream.
How much longer you feel like you're going to want to do this? Do you have
like
thoughts like that in mind? Or you just
it's so weird. Like, so I started when I was 18. I got signed to WWE when I was 20 years old. So my whole adult life I was in WWE. Now I just turned 36. But like, I don't feel like I've missed a beat. I feel like I keep getting better and better. My body's a little banged up, but it's the wrestling business. It's gonna happen, So I've been fortunate. No real major injuries. I blew up my knee one time. I had one major surgery from wrestling, and I'm just ready to keep going. I say always ready, and I am. I feel like I'm just ready for any opportunity, whatever it is. And I use that always ready catchphrase, but it's real. Like, for instance, with Impact, they had a pay-per-view. I believe it was like January or maybe it was February. I don't know. My timetable's all messed up, but I wasn't booked to be on it, and it was a Saturday pay-per-view. And someone texted me the Friday, the day before, like, hey, can you be ready for the pay-per-view? Well, I'm in shape. My body hairs, I'm all shaved up. I'm ready to go. And I'm like, well, shit, I better be able to back it up now.
Yeah. But, I was just going to say that, man, because you always like are in really good shape. Like you keep yourself looking like the same.
Yes.
Year round.
And this is something that, when the YouTube show that I did years ago, when it kind of got flushed down the toilet, I will be the first to admit, like, I had a bitter period where I was angry, and I'm sure you can find some negative tweets that are so popular. Everyone does the negative tweets. It's the cool thing to do a negative passive aggressive tweet. I think I started that too. But then I realized, like, hey, like, how am I going to get out of this spot? Right. I really realized, like, only worry about the things you can control. And in this business, it's going to sound crazy, but I think it's true. Sean, back me up on this or not. You can control very few things. You can control your physique, because no one's going to say you can't work out. You can't look good. You can control your gear. So I always made sure I had brand new gear. I always treated it like it was a pay-per-view, even if I was getting squashed on Raw, because no one's going to say you can't have good gear. Oh, your gear is too nice. No one's going to say that. And the third thing, and the most important thing, is your attitude. You can control your attitude. Nobody can tell you that you can't be happy. So, and once I realized that and I changed my mindset, it just changed everything. And like, I went into work, and no matter what I was doing, whether I had like this 2-segment match, or if I wasn't booked, or if I had some like squash match, I just treated it like it was WrestleMania and did the best. And then, like, you know, I caught some breaks along the way. I won the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. I won the tag team titles at WrestleMania. So I do have these cool moments where, like, if I wasn't ready because those opportunities came out of nowhere, and luckily I was ready to back it up.
Yeah, and there's other people that were underutilized in the same manner as you, but the difference I think you're just talking about is like the attitude, right? Like,
sure.
I mean, yeah.
Because listen, like if you're complaining and being negative and being bitter, listen, it's not going to change your spot and it's not going to make you any happier. So like, why even do it? And that's when I realized that, when I looked myself in the mirror and told myself that, like, my whole perspective and life, the business, everything changed.
Yeah. Hey man, how's your dad?
Oh, he's shot. He's great. He just he's retired now, so he just built a home gym. He's always sending me these selfies of him in the gym mirror. I'm like, Dad, don't send me this.
Nick, have you ever seen Matt's dad?
Yeah, he's pretty huge.
He's fucking jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm familiar.
Yeah, so like that WrestleMania when I won the Intercontinental title, so they'll bring down the friends and family to watch the person's match, right? So he's sitting front row. I win the title. Of course, I'm not telling him that. I don't tell him that because he'll tell everybody if I tell him that. So I win it, and then like Ziggler like waved him over, like, come on over. My dad's like, okay, just hops the guardrail, slides to the ring. Like, that was not part of the show, not planned. And I'm looking like, what are you doing in here? Like, what are you doing? And I climbed down the ladder. And it was in Dallas, so there was like a WrestleMania cowboy hat. And then he tries to put it on my head. I'm like, get this fucking thing off me. Like, this is my one moment. I'm not going to have a fucking cowboy hat on my head.
Wow. And so at some point, I would think somebody had to be like, that's Zach's dad.
Yes. Because I've heard that Vince was like, what the fuck is going on? You know, and then like, oh, it's his dad. So it was all cool. It was all cool. All good.
So Vince was like, let his dad get in the ring.
Oh, well, I think he was already in. I think it was so quick.
Vince was like, don't arrest him. That's fine.
I think everyone quickly realized who it was. It was all good.
Wow, that's amazing.
Hey Matt, so when you guys bring your show out here, I'll have to show up as a surprise guest or something.
Yeah, a surprise guest. Yeah, for sure. 100%. That'd be awesome. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
hey, Nick, hey man, we talked about a lot of shit. Is there anything that you think I missed, or you didn't bring up that we should?
If I'm asking the questions from the perspective of like the wrestling community, like obviously we're very happy you're doing well in Impact Wrestling and everything, but why such a short stint in AEW? Why was it in and out? Why wasn't it the longer term thing? I had
a little agreement with them to do a couple shows, and they never offered me anything long term. So I'm not going to sit there and beg. You know, It is what it is. I had a great time there. It was awesome. It was an awesome experience. Everyone was so welcoming to me. Listen, it was great. And AEW is the place to be. You know, like it's look at it. It's thriving right now. It has all these different shows, has different YouTube shows, 2 TV shows. It's awesome. But at the end of the day, I wasn't offered anything, and I wasn't gonna sit around and wait to be offered something.
Right.
So I mean, that's the truth. You know.
And as a follow up to that, while I have you. There were these reports that came out recently about guys like Braun and Alice or Tommy End, whatever you want to call them, how WWE may be severing the contracts to come back to the renegotiating table to bring people back under different deals. I had heard when you were initially released that you were somebody that may wind up back in the fold there at WWE. Do you still see that as a possibility for you or no?
I mean, well, listen, they certainly never offered me anything. And never say never, right? Like I'm not going to say, oh, I'm not going to go to WWE. I hate WWE. WWE is great. It was the only thing I ever loved as a kid. And I'm not just saying the only wrestling company I loved. The only thing I loved was wrestling, was WWE. And I spent, my whole adult life there. I'm so fortunate for everything. But right now, my goal is not how can I get back to WWE? That's not my goal right now. I don't even think about it. Will I ever go back? Never say never. Sure, maybe, whatever. But that's not I'm not like thinking, well, what can I do to get noticed so they'll bring me back? No, I don't care. I'm having so much fun outside WWE.
Just build your own thing, man.
Yeah,
just do your own shit.
Yeah.
And it's so smart, man. The more people do that, the better.
I think so. And that's what I tweeted this out to everybody who got released a couple weeks ago. Even when my fiance Chelsea got released, I was like, I was getting a haircut and all the releases were happening. I was like, like I was texting Pro Wrestling. He's like, all right, put her store back up now. I'm like, we need to do this now. Like, she knows what she's doing, but like, I think people just need to hustle. Like, you need to go out there and take advantage of this and be your own boss and take risk and bet on yourself. So like, anybody who got released, they're super talented and they can make a name for themselves, and they don't have to be done with this business if they don't want to be, and they don't let the business, like beat them down.
So like for me, here's the like, there's guys like you, Matt, that not only like the in-ring stuff and you take care of, your body and the whole, all that, the presentation, but you produce your own shit. Yes. You do you do everything.
Right.
And there are a lot of guys that don't, man. They have the talent, but like you almost have to be like somewhat,
you do. Listen,
adapt at all of that, man.
And you have to teach yourself or find someone who can do it for you or partner up with someone who can do it for you. So like, Brian and I, we wanted to do the Major Wrestling for a podcast. I don't know how to edit a podcast. So we got Mark Sterling to do the podcast with us. And he was our producer and he was our third guy. He still is. And then, he's somebody who kept doing it. He did it for free at first. And now we're paying them like where he was able to, feed his family. But now he's in AEW. He's making more money than I am. He's Jay's lawyer on AEW. But like, you always gotta, if you can't do something, don't be afraid to ask somebody for help, exactly. and you also got to do the work for yourself. Like I said, like I ship out all our own merchandise. I build the boxes. I think, building a box is not hard. Try building like 250 because you have to ship out 250 things in a day. And then you put the thing in the bubble wrap. Then you put it in. Then you tape 250 boxes. Then you print out the labels. Then you stick it on. Then you bring it to the post office. You gotta grind. You gotta hustle. And I love it.
I dare you to hire one fucking employee to help with that shit.
Well, we actually just did. We just did. Nick, if you're listening, Nick, thank you very much. Because I was shipping out some trading cards last week, and I said, enough is enough.
Yeah.
I said, Nick, you're on board, but you're on board.
Yeah, that's the goal, Don.
Right.
To build a business, to make pro wrestling for life a business. That's the goal. Yes.
And I think anybody can do it,
Yes.
Like you just gotta just take no. Like you can't take if someone says no, then find your own yes. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
If someone says no, find your own yes.
That's it. That's it, baby.
Yeah, we call that in improv. We call that yes and, right? We're like, even like, yeah, and you know what? Maybe we do this other thing, right? So you at least build on the idea.
Right.
Anyway.
Hey, well, Matt. Hey, man, I'm really grateful you gave us some of your time today, man.
No, absolutely. I'm glad it worked out. I know we played a little phone tag trying to get this all set up, but I'm glad it worked out because, of course, I want to be on the show 100%. I love you, Sean. So thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Love you too, my friend. I look forward to seeing you soon, man.
Hell yeah, baby.
Hey, dude, we want to give everyone before.
Wait, 1 second. I just want to say real quick. After everything we've just said, after the journey we've just been on, is I can get my 2 cents in here.
Sure.
And I think the stuff you're doing with Gage could not be more on the money, and you're on the money with pretty much everything you do these days. But I'm personally very engaged with what you're doing right now in GCW, and I think it's going to be great, and I'm really personally looking forward to the journey we're about to go on with you.
Thanks. I'm very excited, and listen, like I'm not saying how long this stint is going to be, but we're definitely going to have that match at Homecoming. Hopefully I don't die, right? But I think the fans I think the fans are going to love it, whether you hate me or you love me, you're gonna have a great time. So it's super cool with Impact. Also, it's like I have all these like different worlds. I have my Impact life, I have the Major Wrestling podcast life, and my indie wrestling life. Then my life at home with Chelsea and the dogs and the cats. Like it's a lot of work, but it doesn't feel like work because it's so much fun.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Joining us right now is Effy. What's up, Effy?
Hey, thanks for having me on the show. This is awesome. I'm glad we're chatting. I saw you were talking to Pollo Del Mar the other day, and she was talking about me, so now we're here.
Yeah, man. It's good to have you, man. Hey, for those that might not know, Effy is part of the LGBT plus community, and so how are okay? Let's just get into it, man.
Get into it, man. Get into it.
How is talk about the LGBTQ niche in pro wrestling right now. Safe to call it a niche?
It is. I think it's safe to call it a niche, but I think it's born of sort of a frustration. So even as we look around as members of our community, which is like, when you say LGBT plus, it's like, it includes so many people and so many different people that as a niche, we're all sort of on the outside, but there's a lot of people that fall into our categories. And I think where we are at now, as an independent wrestler, someone who is out just working for whoever is willing to pay, we sort of are frustrated by, the representation is starting to be there, but the people behind the scenes aren't necessarily letting those people take the risks or letting those people be public. So on the outside, we're kind of saying, hey, let's get a little more aggressive. Let's get a little more wild and in their face and see what we are capable of when we're pushing our own stories and pushing our own visions of what we think wrestling looks like.
So when did this start becoming a thing? When, yourself and the others in wrestling that are part of your community, like when would you say this push for this started?
I think as I sort of started traveling around and realizing that there were these small pockets of talents, throughout all different parts of the countries, we would start seeing each other more often on, these specific pride shows or shows where people were at least trying to do this. And as we kind of looked around at each other, we're going, hey, if it's not a person in charge that is from our community, these shows aren't really happening, or these shows are, being put on for the wrong reasons. And as we've sort of banded together, there really is a tight-knit group of people from our community that aren't just performers, but are willing to put in the work to make new shows happen. And as I like to put it, bake more pies, because as we've been able to create more opportunities, fans who weren't always comfortable coming to shows or being around pro wrestling because of the nature of what was going on, they're showing themselves, and we're sort of reaching an audience that's never even touched wrestling before. And it's wild to see when we take it by our own hands, what's possible now with the internet and how easy it is to get in front of people's faces.
Right on. But there's so many, man, it's such, you guys have, I don't mean you guys.
No, it's fine. Listen, I'm a true believer of that. Us having a candid conversation and us speaking candidly, that's the best way for education. And the first second, I'm like, hey, Sean, how dare you say I'm gay? I'm pansexual. It's that's where the wall breaks down. Right. When we're just talking, it's let's figure it out. So I'm here to answer anything. I'm here to make it easy, man.
But it's just such a wild, there's so much going on because you guys got like Sonny Kiss on one end and Pero on the other end, just beating the fuck out of people. I mean, the way different people present themselves, and some people they just happen to be gay, like Fred Rosser.
Absolutely. It's not it's just signed with New Japan. So there is that side of people going, well, why do you have to draw so much attention to that part of yourself? There are plenty of wrestlers who aren't making their Catholicism their whole belief, or making their race their whole belief. And what I'm believing in right now is we're still at a point where we need to let these people know that they can be comfortable themselves, and that there is representation of, you may be a gay person, but you don't have to be an Effy gay person. You might be a Pero gay person, and all of those things are valid. So for us, putting that outward brand on, hey, you're safe here and we are these people and we fit this category, and then getting to the actual product where we like to push is saying, you may categorize us as this, you may be here because we are this, but at the core, we're still pro wrestlers and we are still telling pro wrestling stories and we are still trained professionals. And I think that's where people go, you know what, they may bring this part into it, but it's opening a world where people are actually seeing pro wrestling that they may not have ever taken the chance on.
Yeah. All this is making me just think about how it used to be. When I was a kid, they might have a character, like an Adrian Street, for instance,
right,
and who wasn't even really gay, but
was an excellent worker and knew that heat angle. And not to cut you off, but I've kind of I thought about this because the national perception during those times was more skewed to homophobia and transphobia and people not being as educated, even on things like racial issues, and having characters that were more, here's the Black Savage and here's these Black people doing, more hokey minstrel things. It sold tickets at those times, and promoters were trying to sell tickets. What we're looking at now is there seems to be a shift. And while there are a lot of people in our country that don't necessarily want to see LGBTQ people pushed in their face or succeed in front of them or be themselves in that way, there are a ton of people who want to sell tickets. So at the core of wrestling being a capitalist endeavor, we are shifting with the American audience faster than most of these big corporate companies are able to. And I think they sometimes get a little uncomfortable with, hey, we can have the representation, but if we go too far, we don't want that scandal involved with us accidentally doing something we shouldn't. They don't always take the talent's thoughts into accordance. They're sort of, hey, we've done this a long time. We've been a part of this industry a long time. We're not going to take that risk. You're here already. Let's not push it too far. What
would be an example of pushing it too far? Like,
I mean, listen, I'm a person who is an R-rated creator, and you know, when Pero cut a promo, you know, thank God we had Mick Foley able to cut a promo to open the show and really got a little political and get into it. But from Pero's point of view, he wanted to make sure we're pushing an LGBTQ storyline that is aggressive. And his last line was, you know, he's talking about, I'm not these straight guys that want your clout or want your overness or want a match just to get over. I'm a homosexual. I'm a homo man, and I'm going to murder you. And that's an aggressive way of saying, hey, you got into my business and you're saying a lot of things that are disrespectful to me as a man. And I don't care what you think about me. I am a gay man, but I have the capability to do this. Yeah. I got to tell you this, though. I think back. I cut a promo right before the original Effy's Big Gay Brunch was supposed to happen, which is a Tampa show. It was alongside WrestleMania last year before COVID. And I cut a promo that said, hey, I want everyone to come to my show. I want you to have fun. But if you do anything homophobic or transphobic, or you're there just to mess with people, I'm going to take you out in the streets and bleed you out. And
right on.
Because of that, we got 3 domestic terrorist threats to the venue. Obviously, the show didn't happen. I can speak on this now because it's already passed, but I had a detective come to me and say, look, we're not concerned about your statement. Your statement is technically in character. I said, even though I meant every word, he said, you're promoting it as Effy in character. But when people come to us and say, we're going to shoot Effy in the ring, these are real things. We're going to bomb people there. We're going to kill as many people as we can. I've now got to work at a level with security and at a different place just to make sure our show can happen, because I got over the line and I made someone mad enough to say, well, if you're not going to let us come be homophobic, or you're going to threaten us if we're homophobic, we're going to kill you if you have your performance. Would
you have done it? Would you regret pushing it that far with what you said?
No, absolutely not. And I've sort of said again, if you come to me, I had a situation the other day, 2021. I'm not used to it. I'm on a lot of gay shows.
Yeah.
A guy used the F-bomb, called it to me in the ring, said, look at this F-bomb. And
somebody you were working with?
No, somebody who had paid to be in the front row of the show. And I took whatever was going on and looked at the man in the eyes, and I said, I hope you brought a gun, because I'm going to kill you if I get my hands on you. And as I calmed down and won the match, I had a real scream at him after the match and really explained and said, you don't know what you're messing with. You don't know what consequences you're going to face, because these people don't always feel consequence from this. They think they're punching down. They think they're punching at a lesser being by using these terms. When that consequence hits them, it messes them up. But I caught myself enough. I said, I made a scene. I did not enact violence. And we ended up having a teaching moment. But am I responsible for having a teaching moment with everyone who attacks me with hate? I've sort of set up the line of, hey, I love the 70s and 80s and Mid-South and Jim Crockett and these old school dirty arenas. If you want to come at me, I'm going to come show you that it's real. And I need people to understand that, like, we've passed that point. If that's coming at me, we're going for it. So we have to kind of have that steadfastness.
Right on. And I think a lot of straight men have this. Well, I don't think, I know this idea in their head that, like, if you're a gay man, that you can't take care of yourself, that you can't throw, you know?
I'll even go further than that. You're in Vegas, Sean, or you've lived in Vegas? You're in LA. Okay. Yeah. You've been in Vegas though before. Yeah. So you're familiar with maybe the Fremont Street area. There was a show that went on in Vegas recently, an independent show. And one of my good friends is a professional wrestler named Dark Sheik. And Dark Sheik is a trans woman from Iran. She started Hood Slam with the Stoner Brothers. Has done a lot for wrestling.
Yeah.
Someone came up and was attempting to be homophobic, was attempting to be transphobic. And without even really putting in words, there was a shoot STO to the ground. There was a stomp to the fella, a picture of who was being transphobic, and a have a nice day, because she is at the point where she goes, I'm a professional athlete and a professional fighter. If you want to come at me with that kind of base level idiotic, you know you're better than that BS, it's straight to hands. And I think there's something really magical about that, where we've sanitized a lot of what wrestling superstars look like. And to know that, like, if you're going to come with hatefulness to these people, they are ready to show you that old school mentality of, we're protecting our business too, baby.
Yeah. Right on. You know, Nick, I know it sounds like you want to hop in, but I got a thought real quick.
I've talked to Effy a bunch. Please take your time. Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, fuck, man. Now
it's okay. I mean, if it comes back in, cut me off.
I'll jump in while Sean kind of gets his thoughts about him. You know, kind of breaking that stigma that you guys are talking about. Dude, you're doing some crazy shit right now, Effy. Like, I saw the G-Raver spot where he's like rubbing like salt and vinegar chips into your back while you're like falling through glass. I mean, you know, why you don't need to be doing this stuff. I know you're very confident in the ring. Why are you going out right now? Yeah.
So I want to kind of just key back a little because I think these two things go hand in hand, which is, as I think about the answer I just gave you, Sean, I go, well, people are going to think I'm coming across as aggressive. But if you interact with me at a show or you see me at a show, and I think Nick has been there to sort of see it, I want to protect these people who feel comfortable enough finally coming to wrestling. And there are so many people who come and go, you know, this means a lot that we're allowed to be here. This means a lot that this is happening. And so I feel like I've got to stand on the outside of that and put up those guardrails. And I also feel in the same sense as, hey, a lot of people are looking at Effy. A lot of people are looking at him as a community leader. I want to be a utility person who can operate on all levels. A promoter said to me the other day, hey, you're a lot easier to find a match for than so-and-so. And so as you say, look, hey, Effy, you don't need to be doing the death matches all the time. You don't need to be doing this. You're entirely correct. But when I do go to these levels and do these things, and if I am going into that world, whether it be death match or technical wrestling or whatever the call is, I want to do it at the highest level possible. And I don't want people to finish up and go, well, yeah, he did a death match or he was a part of the tournament, but it was just the little Effy version, or he was just the gay boy, you know, that was a token there. I want guys to walk back. And I had a conversation with Sick Nick Mondo, who retired 20 years ago, is still looked at as the highest level of deathmatch. And he said, you really added something special just with your creativity, not because you're a gay guy, not because of this, but just because you were operating on a creative level. And it's like, I want to always come with that because I feel like we owe it back to the people who are really sticking with us in crazy times in wrestling and really taking a risk, even existing and coming to me. It's I don't know. I feel like a mother hen sometimes, but you got to do it.
Hey, so something that I've been thinking of just now when you're talking about like the interaction with the fans, and you know, the dropping the F-bombs and you know, shit like that. Have you ever had an incident where like something like that happened, but the promoter was kind of like on the side of the fan that was saying the shit, like, you know, like, hey, you get thicker skin, there's fucking wrestling business, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think you know, I'll admit here that I came into wrestling as I came out. You know, I was sort of working through my own self as I was starting wrestling in the South, where I'm wrestling mostly in Alabama and South Georgia, South Carolina, North Florida, these areas that are full of this kind of thing. And so there are things I am doing to garner these reactions, and promoters are knowing this. And, you know, there's moments where they're going like, you really got to get them riled up tonight. And I take pride in doing my job well, but you do hit a certain point where you go, is there a better way for me to keep this same aggression, this same feeling, this same sort of fuck you attitude versus falling into a stereotypical role and not meeting those promoters' demands anymore and going, I have trust in myself as a performer. I know if you want me to get heat tonight, I can do that, but I'm going to do it in my way versus put on a wig or put on some extra jewelry and really give it to them so they do get those reactions. You have to have that conversation, that trusting yourself, and either they come with you or you stop working for them. And for the most part, I've moved on to other things and taken my skills in a better direction.
Yeah, because even when you were telling that story about that guy who dropped the F-bomb recently against you, like, was there a reaction from the promoter? Like, did they talk to that fan? Because I've seen more often than not now, I mean, it's become like a hip thing to do, to be the promoter who stands up for the talent. You know, I see that more and more, you know, these days.
Yeah, and even people where you wouldn't expect it sometimes. But I think there's still that fear line and sort of that, like, do you want to goad confrontation? And I am always okay with goading confrontation when it deals with stuff like this. So a lot of the times I'm in front of it and handling it before the promoter, but I mean, they were checking in, they were checking on that, they were having that conversation, you know, but I do believe people can change and grow. And I'm not saying, hey, let's let him back every time if he's going to do this. But if this is the first time he's ever been confronted on this, and this is something that he's been around his whole life, and, you know, maybe his dad said the same thing to him since he was 5, do we just give up on people, or do we say, look, you've seen the consequence, you know why now, is there a second chance for these things? Not in a sense where it was going to be impactful or dangerous to performers or to the people that are at the place, but there is a level of tolerance that we're going to have too, of as we expand and grow, people aren't going to be 100% with us. Let's get as much of a percent as we can and let them see the rest on their own.
Man. No, I'm from the opinion of not giving up on people, and
never,
because I'm gonna just tell you about me personally. I was pretty homophobic, man. I was molested as a kid. I'm not just by a man, but by females as well. But it put this thought in my head, and just all the homophobic talk and shit growing up down in fucking Tampa, and just it was what you grew up with, and it took me moving to Minneapolis and just being around gay people, man, like fucking good human beings, and so like there's hope for people, like not everyone is just hopelessly fucking trans and homophobic for the rest of their lives.
Right. And but it's taking that chance to say, hey, when I hear people that say, hey, you know what, I live as a transgender person in America, I can't explain myself every day. We've got a little bit of a responsibility for our brothers and sisters that are in our community to get in front of these things and say, hey, we'll have those conversations too. And we'll make sure by the time you're having those conversations that we've at least covered some of the ground. And some people aren't, they're resistant to it and they're pushed against it. And there's a lot of things in our country that are going to push you in a different direction. But it's great to see that more and more people are finding their comfort level to be themselves, and that more and more people are not even that there's an apathetic attitude to it, but more and more people are willing to listen and willing to say, maybe I was wrong, maybe it was different, and open themselves to it. I even think about, there's a perception of gay wrestling, right? Of we're a little too hoity-toity or we're a little too this. And I advertise my shows specifically to be very rainbow and fun and big. But when you watch the actual wrestling, there's a humanity and a brutality to what we're trying to do. And I think when these people from these communities can see that we are able to take our struggles and put them on an entertainment level and tell these stories in a new way, they click with it on a new level, and other people can see that same thing. It's translated to them of, hey, I may be a straight guy who grew up, in a world where this never came to me, but I see the human struggle here. We're trying to present it beyond that stereotype once you're watching the core of our product too.
Dude. No, I mean, I'm just really happy you exist. Like the way you talk, like your empathy. I mean, it's exact right tone. I guess that's maybe why people fear the gay agenda, because it makes a lot of sense, right? It's nice, it's comfortable.
Yeah, I've not to pull this. I've had a real come to Jesus lately of sort of where I'm at, which is, okay, a lot of people have come into wrestling, said, oh, they're going to make wrestling better, they're going to do so much for wrestling. They always end up being charlatans or frauds or gaslighters, and they abuse people and they do this. And I still see so much of this high school petty mentality it's been in our business forever, to the point where you sort of don't want to overcome it. And now it's like, okay, I'm going to take on a very hard job of fighting this constantly and cutting down a lot of branches. But if we can come out of the other side and it looks better and people are looking at us for our talent and not just, oh, well, they're gay people. Yeah, we've got to lay that label out first and be really aggressive about it now, because in the future, when we have these new paths, it's going to be a lot easier for people to go, yeah, I am a gay person. Of course I could train to be a pro wrestler. It would never even be a question of if I could do that. Of course there's safe spaces for me to exist where I'm not going to be attacked homophobically, where it almost is like second nature. I'm ready to jump into the weeds. I'm ready to test it at all levels. I came into this business after I had been a part of other businesses. I ran a moving company. I took it from $600,000 to $2.5 million. I couldn't work for other people anymore when I saw what was going on in wrestling, and turning my hustle into wrestling. It's flipped a lot of things and it's put a lot of work on my back, but I think I'm kind of carving a weird path that is going to matter down the line. But it's going to take a lot of just head down, let's go right now.
Something, what really helps, and just in general, when the people in your community go out there and crush it in the ring when they're having their matches, that's that's important as fuck, man.
Oh, very important. And there is the expectation of they have to crush it, right? They have to work that much harder. But what's been exciting for me is these people who I know have this talent, when they are given the opportunity to just be themselves, they do it at the highest level. And I've seen these people coached at other shows. We've been booked together in other places, not to say that they aren't just as good in those places, but my mentality is, hey, I know how much time I want you guys out there for. I booked you because of who you are. Be the most of who you are and be that person, whether you think it's weird or strange or it won't click. Our audiences are usually pretty open-minded and they catch up. And I think that's true for all of wrestling. Wrestling always has a little bit of open-mindedness of, if it can get over with me, it'll work. There are so many things that if you describe them objectively would never sound like they'd be over, that have been over and over and over and over. When you put the people in the right position, they succeed when you count on their strengths instead of saying, I need you to fit this box because you're this, you got to do this thing.
Yeah.
Hey, so Effy, let me let's talk about Mexico and the Exoticos down there, man. Because Cassandro, Pimpinella,
Pimpinella, yes.
Well, you know,
badasses too.
The most badass.
Pimpinella will kick your fucking ass.
And I'm trying to get Pimpinella back in here, back in the U.S., back ready to go. Cassandra was on the first Effy's Big Gay Brunch that we had against Sunny Kiss, main event match for that show, seeing an Exotica legend against an up-and-coming, superstar that is on TV, that is openly gay. Sunny Kiss really breaking a lot of boundaries. The thing that really encouraged me about Cassandra is Cassandra was there talking with everyone, willing to talk to the talent, willing to go over things. And there was a moment where Cassandra was listening to sort of the things that we've gone through. What have been your challenges? And was goading these questions and said, I don't want to take away from you or one up you, but hearing your struggles here and what my struggles were, which were people trying to knife me, people attacking me with batteries as I enter the ring, me having to keep a smile with my makeup on, of people spewing hate all the time, not knowing if I'd get safely to my car, going, we have at least come somewhat farther than where I was, and being very excited about that. It's very hopeful. And to know that Cassandra was excited not just to be on these shows because, the shows are here and it's good, it's a booking. Cassandra was excited to watch the whole show and take in the whole show and talk to everyone about their matches. That collaboration within our community makes such a difference because we haven't had those leaders and advisors before that have really taken us seriously as ourselves. They've said, hey, here's in wrestling terms what you can do and what you can do, but not as I've lived as a gay man in a homophobic world and succeeded. Here's these little things you can do and these little steps you can take. It means so much to have that person there. And I was talking to Cassandra on the phone for the first time, and I just remember thinking, who would have guessed that you'd get here? And just getting to introduce Cassandra even to a new audience now of people who've gone, I've sort of heard or I've heard things, and getting to see in person what Cassandra is capable of and what Cassandra has done. The whole experience has been such a magical thing.
Dude. Yeah, it was just like, if anyone's not familiar with what we're talking about down in Mexico, the original, was Pimpinella, Escarlata, and Rudy Reyna was another one. I think Rudy has passed away. If I'm not
Yes. But they've also, there's a Vice documentary too about some of the newer girls that are doing it. And I think what's different now is back in the day, they still said, hey, as these men, we are dressing as women and we are doing more of a drag transformation. But what has shifted is there are more gender non-binary people and people who are transgender women now who are saying, I am just as valid in the professional wrestling world and I am still an exotico, but it's not a character to me to be this beautiful woman anymore or to be this. And they face many new challenges because of that, but they are really bringing a lot to wrestling by authentically being themselves. There is no mask to that of saying, this is the most real version I can give you of myself. And I do exist as this beautiful, lovely woman.
All right. Hey, this has been an awesome conversation, and we can always have Effy back, right? We're not just going to bring Effy around during Pride Month and then forget about him. I think that's the antithesis.
No, that's so funny. Yeah.
Listen, I already joked that I'm too busy during Pride Month anyway, so it has to be Pride year. You're not going to get the booking. That's where I'm at.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, since we're here, Effy, if you don't mind, I've created this game that I want you and Sean to play. Do you mind sticking around to play this game here for a couple minutes real quick?
I'm all about it. I love playing games.
Okay, wonderful. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the game show. It is me. It's me, your host, Nick Hausman, and we are going to be playing a great new game this week. Our returning competitor here to the side of me, of course, two-time Hall of Famer, Sean X-Pac Waltman. Sean, welcome back to your game show.
Thank you.
Yes, wonderful. And then below me here, we have Effy. Effy, welcome to the game show.
Very excited to be here. Hope I can get home with the grand prize.
It's a hell of a fucking mustache you got going, Effy.
I trimmed it up for today because I had a real Hollywood Hogan thing going with it over the weekend, just trying to look more disheveled.
Well, superpowers colliding here, Effy and Sean X-Pac Waltman. Today's game, this week's game is called LGBTQ&A or Embrace the Gay Agenda. All right. So the way
I can't believe you're doing this to Sean X-Pac Waltman right now. This is intense and incredible. I hope this is easy for him.
No, this is a real easy game. It's all
okay.
Don't worry about it. There's no resistance. Okay. And so anyway,
what would you think the problem would be, Effy? I'm just curious.
It sounds like he's about to go into some heavy LGBTQ trivia, and I don't want him to just be like, because sometimes people are like asking crazy questions like, "Oh, Sean Waltman, what are poppers?" And you're like, and then you're goaded into a weird answer. I don't want it to be that kind of show, you know?
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, you brought up the poppers.
I'm just giving an example of what's happened previously in my journalistic experience with some interviewers.
Okay, well, you think very poorly of me. That's not
okay. I'm excited.
Poppers. Poppers. Isn't that kind of like a fucking gay stereotype type thing to say, anyways?
It's also just a really fun activity for couples who are in love.
Maybe
it loosens you up. I'm told it loosens you up. Right, makes for a great game. So anyway, in this game, I'm going to read you multiple choice questions regarding members of the LGBTQ pro wrestling community. Now, all of the wrestlers I'm going to ask you questions about. This comes from the list of LGBTQ pro wrestlers on the Wikipedia page. So that is the source here for all this. The person who gets the most questions right by the time I decide the game is over is going to win. Now,
Nick, try not to out anyone. That's not fucking.
That's why I say this is the list. You know, it's public knowledge.
Right.
You know, last time we did jobbers or drag queens, you got very upset immediately at some of the people I classified.
Well, what the fuck, man? Like, they're not jobbers. Well, anyways.
All right, we're not going
Hey, but he's like, his list of jobbers is fucking Bobby Blaze.
Come on.
That was the first one. The guy I started with. Like, it's fucking Smoky Mountain. Like, anyways, whatever.
You got to give them their credit.
Yeah, I digress.
I'm ready. We're ready, Nick.
That comes from the jobbers list on Wikipedia. That was their call. Okay, anyway. So to decide who goes first here, I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds here to grab the most phallic item near you, and I'm going to determine which item is more phallic. So you've got, let's say, 5 seconds here.
The most phallic item near me?
4 seconds. Yep. Oh Sean,
no.
Sharpie. 3.
I've got a big curvy ring light.
Wow. I weirdly find the curvy ring light to be more phallic than just the pure Sharpie.
Is it?
It's like a dolphin's piece.
I also had a pretty sharp pair of scissors, but that's a real prick.
Gonna whip my dick out. So boy,
have an extra screen for that.
Nick got like a bird's eye view of me pissing in a Solo cup because I didn't realize the fucking the camera was on when we were doing an interview.
P-cup is the best invention of all time.
Effy, he texts me while we're doing the interview, like, "What the fuck's the matter with you?"
I don't think I said what the fuck.
No, it's exactly what you said.
What the fuck is going on right now? I wasn't like upset because, like, honestly, you know,
I pulled a Jeffrey Tubin on him.
What a unique.
Except for I wasn't jerking.
Tubin's back, baby. Oh God.
You know, how many people can say they've accidentally seen Sean's penis, right? So I'm one of those people. So
all right,
actually, probably a lot, to be honest with you.
Okay, so the game. The first question is going to go to Effy. Effy, your question here: on which reality show did Jake Atlas have a heart-to-heart talk with Stephanie McMahon about being gay? Was it on Total Divas, Undercover Boss, or Tough Enough?
That was on Undercover Boss, and Stephanie had a beautiful blonde wig that she should have brushed.
Dude, that was crazy, right? When she like revealed herself, and then Big Show had to be like, "Oh my God, that's Stephanie McMahon."
It was better than the Vince one where he just put on the soul patch and wandered around the statues.
Did he?
He did. It's really good. He puts on like a shaggy gray wig and a like disturbed soul patch, and he's just wandering around the like Andre the Giant statue like he's a janitor. Pretty wild.
Okay, 1-0 here in favor of Effy.
Well, it's not nothing. He hasn't had a chance yet to answer. It's a 1-2 opportunity.
Wait, what? That was a fucking question?
Yeah, it was multiple choice. What show was it on? I guess Undercover
Boss.
Boss.
Right. Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, wonderful. All right, on back to you. Your question now. Which UFC star's team was Shayna Baszler on when she was on The Ultimate Fighter? Was it Ronda Rousey's team, Miesha Tate's team, or Chuck Liddell's team?
Fuck. Ronda's?
You are correct. It was Ronda Rousey. Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
Team Ronda there during her time on the Ultimate Fighter.
I wouldn't have known. I would have said Miesha Tate, honestly.
Well, you'd have been wrong. So we're tied one apiece now. How about this one? On which late night talk show, what late night talk show host did Cassandra train to be a pro wrestler in 2017? Was it Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, or Conan O'Brien?
It was Conan O'Brien because he looked so creepy in his wrestling gear, and I was all about it.
Yes, very pasty.
That man's like 7 feet tall. Shoot, like they'd have to advertise him as like 8'2" in the Fed.
Hey, Effy? What about Daniel Tosh, man? When he does some of that shit, do you ever see any of that?
Like, what is he doing with like? Is he doing it to himself?
No. Anyways, never mind. Okay. I didn't mean to go up into the Daniel Tosh weeds.
I thought maybe he had like a Pornhub video. I wasn't sure.
No. All right, 2-1. Effy's up 2-1. Sean, back to you. What branch of the U.S. Agriculture Agency did Orlando Jordan work for before becoming a professional wrestler? Did Orlando Jordan work for the Food Safety and Inspection Service, the United States Forest Service, or the Economic Research Service?
Economic Research.
I'm sorry. He worked for the United States Forest Service is what Orlando Jordan did.
What?
Yeah. I wanted.
Are you trying to steamroll Sean on these? These questions are pretty insane.
I mean, how do we fucking fact? I guess we could fact check it.
We're gonna have to.
Okay, look, and we're learning about the pro wrestling LGBTQ community. I wanted to ask you guys stuff that we would find out, like new knowledge. All right, back to you, Effy. Up 2-1 here. Which of the following WCW championships did Chris Kanyon not hold? Which one did he not hold?
Okay.
Was it the WCW US Championship, the WCW TV Championship, or was it the WCW Tag Team Championship?
Oh, man. It's the U.S. Championship.
I'm sorry, he was a U.S. champion. He was never a WCW TV champion. No. U.S. and tag champion, though.
Oh, man.
Yeah. 2-1. That was your chance to go up by 2.
I know.
Yeah. A lane is open.
Drama.
All right. Well, hey, Sean, back to you. What name did Sonny Kiss go by on Lucha Underground? Was it Exolicious, Topsy Bottoms, or Sonny Kiss?
Sonny Kiss.
Do not pick Topsy Bottoms. God.
It was Exolicious. So you're not right. Do you like that?
No.
I didn't know.
He didn't pick.
He picked Sonny Kiss. That's not what he. Yeah, he was Exolicious on Lucha Underground.
Which, like, all love to Sonny, but did he come up with that name?
I don't know.
Exolicious?
That was his name. Exolicious.
Yeah, it's kind of.
That's like barely a.
It's like not like, oh, let's come up with the name for up the top for him. How about this?
Yeah. I didn't know if Topsy Bottoms was gonna land.
Topsy Bottoms is the funniest thing I've ever heard. That's like, it sounds like Popeye's new girlfriend.
Totally made that up. That's nobody. It's just made up. Okay. Anyway, back to Effy here. Still up 2-1. Which woman defeated Piper Niven in the 2017 Mae Young Classic to eliminate her from the tournament? Was she eliminated by Santana Garrett, Serena Deeb, or Toni Storm?
I'm going to guess Toni Storm.
You are correct. That puts you up 3-1. I'm going to ask you one more here, Sean. It's a tough one. If you get it, maybe I'll give you 2 points, but I don't know if you're going to get it or not. So here you go. Sean, what did Mercedes Martinez get her degree in? Was it theater, accounting, or criminal justice?
Fuck, I don't know.